Saturday. Today our discussion will be about academic reading. Please make this as interactive as possible. Just a moment while I'll upload my screen.
Portia, while you
Yes.
uploading your screen, good morning. Are you well?
Yes, morning. I'm well, and yourself, Adele?
I'm very well, thank you. I just checked with the exam date is the 29th of October. So I think it will be a good opportunity for you to just discuss the last class that you might have with them, or change some planning, or double up on sessions. So if you could just give that some consideration in the meantime, that will also be great.
All right.
And I will be posting the direct links to the previous EML sessions in the chat today. I will also post the link to the one-on-one sessions and a new feedback form that they must just complete. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adele. Thank you. Students, well, on that topic, tell me, is there anything that you would like me to address in our sessions and our coming sessions, please, with regards to your module? Is the module clear to you? Do you all understand what's needed of you?
Lesson plan.
Lesson planning. I'll make a note of that. Thank you. Anyone else who have a problem with a certain aspect of the module? Danae?
Yes.
Is there anything you would like me to discuss in our next session?
Just give me a second so that I can go through my notes.
All right, sure. Thank you. Jamie Lee?
Hi, Portia. I also need a second, please.
All right. I'll give you all a second or two.
And while they're taking their seconds, Portia,
Yes.
I just want to check with the students, do you have access to previous question papers?
We do have access, yes. It is under that resources.
Additional resources?
Yes, additional resources. And then it like allows you to go into old papers, but it's only the 2019 one. And then the CIC lecturer sent us an email stating that it is a new subject and there is not an old question paper. However, I do have an old question paper that I found on the additional resources, but it is exactly the same or very similar to the first assignment we did. So I don't know if that will be used.
Thank you. That's very valuable information. Now, remember, Portia does not have access to your module on My UNISA. So it will be great if you could forward her a previous question paper or two, so that could also, in at least your last session, could be discussed. Portia, if that's okay with you, it's just a suggestion I'm making. Normally, it's a very good thing for students just to have a sense of what is expected in an exam, not necessarily the answers to the questions, but how to approach the questions. So if you can really build that into your final sessions, that will also be great.
Yes, I agree with you, Adele. I can do that.
Okay, so will you agree also with somebody just to forward you those question papers then?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Portia.
All right, thank you. Right, Danae, what would you like me to discuss in our upcoming sessions? Jamie Lee? Colleen?
Sorry. I would like maybe the theories. Just to go over that again. The theories of teaching.
of teaching will do that. So we'll be covering theories, lesson planning in our upcoming sessions. Anything else, students?
Is it possible for us to do different assessments, so baseline assessment, summative assessment, and diagnostic assessment, just an overview of them and like the definition and what it entails, if possible?
Yes, we can do that, definitely. Anyone else would like to add? Colin, you good with this module? Jamie? Danielle? Colin? Is there anything specific you'd like me to address?
They said
I said the lesson planning.
All right, thank you. Danielle?
they said already that I was thinking about. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you, Simone. Anything you're unsure about?
Portia, I would like
Yes.
to agree with Danae about the assessment aspects, and then the previous question paper would also be very helpful to go through.
All right, thank you. We'll do that.
And Portia, theories about
Yes.
play as well, please.
Theories about?
About play as well.
I can't hear
So
you.
it's
You're
theories
breaking
about,
up.
sorry, theories about play, and then also
Yes.
the theories to teaching, to language teaching.
Yes. We'll do that.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So in the upcoming lessons, we'll focus on lesson planning, previous question papers, theories of teaching, assessments, and theories about play. Right, you all good with that? Or is there any other challenge you'd like me to tackle? All right. If you can't think of something now, please let me know after this session. Yes, Akila, would you like to add something? Would you like to ask a question? Students, please mute your mics and make sure that your cameras are switched off. Just a second while I upload my slides, please.
Students, please don't forget to put your student numbers in the chat. We're no longer providing an attendance register, okay?
Thank you, Adele, for reminding.
No problem.
Jamie, please give me an indication. Can you see my slide?
Yes, Portia, can see.
All right.
Hello.
All right. Thank you. Yes, good day.
Hi. I just wanted to find out with regards to the exams, when the
You're very soft, ma'am.
I just wanted to find out with regards to the exams when the question papers are being set up, are they testing us on paraphrasing or how we implement the subject and the knowledge that we've learned from this within a real life situation?
All right. Unfortunately, I can't answer that right now, but we'll get back to you in the next session. Right? We're having our next session on Wednesday evening. Is that okay with you, student?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, good. Right, students, if we look, if if you look at the picture, it says academic reading. What is your understanding of reading in general? I'm sure you all read. Danae, tell me, for what purpose do you normally read? Is it for enjoyment or is it for academics?
I am a reader. I enjoy reading, so I do it for leisure and also
Oh,
to like gain new information.
all right. Thank you. Thank you. Jamie, do you read?
Yes, Portia. I have to for academic
All right.
reasons. Yeah.
All right. So you're not a reader for enjoyment then, I guess.
I
All
do
right.
read for enjoyment, but
Okay.
because of the limited time I have with so much responsibilities, but I enjoy reading as well. Yes.
All right. Now tell me, how do you read? How do you normally read when you read for enjoyment? Is it for facts or
Sorry,
is
Portia.
it for facts? Why do you read? How do you read for enjoyment? What is the purpose of reading for enjoyment? Just to relax you, am I right?
Yes.
All right. So if you read academically, what is the purpose of your reading then?
To gain knowledge.
To look for
Yes.
answers. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Danae, would you like to add anything as to why we read academically and what's the purpose of reading academically?
So what they've said, I think as well, I completely agree. It is to gain facts, and like a lot of people just skim read to gain answers for assignments or tests or whatever.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Now, there's two reasons why we read. One is to read non-act for leisure. That is what we call passive reading. We're not looking for information. We just start reading a book from the beginning to the end. And we don't normally ask questions when we read non-academic readings. But when we read academically, you must understand that the academic reading process is an active process. All right? When we read academically, we have a particular question in mind. All right? And we're reading with a purpose. So, sorry, students, let me just textbooks, your modules, you might read lectures, pre-read lectures, you read tutorials when you read academically. The tutorials is normally based on your assigned readings. Assigned readings, you read assignments. That all forms part of academic reading. Now tell me, students, when you read academically, do you make use of different writing materials? For examples, highlighters, you use pencils, you use rulers, different color pens. Do you make use of that, students?
Yes.
All right, why do you make use of that?
I like labeling important facts that I read, or for example, if I see an answer to a question that I know there is, then I'll highlight it in a certain color, and then just other important facts that I feel is important, I would do in a different color, and I usually make notes on the side as well.
All right, good. Thank you. Colin, what do you do when you read? Do you make use of highlighters? Do you annotate? What do you do? Please, students, share with me what you do when you do academic reading.
I summarize notes and summarize it again if I can. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So note taking is also part of it. Thank you. Anyone else?
For me, I like to have different colors. I like to see different colors in front of me just to have the learning process look fun and more entertaining for me. So I always like to take notes and highlight things just to make it fun so I can carry on learning or whatever.
All right, so you will highlight the important information then? And maybe words you don't understand. Am I correct? Are you saying that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to share? All right. Before we do all this, we first need to understand what academic writing is. Right? By saying that, you will ask yourself, what is the purpose of this reading? What information am I looking for? That is the question you will ask in order to understand the academic reading process. And remember, academic reading is a skill, all right? A skill, with that I mean, is to know how to do it well. You must concentrate, you must be focused on what you're reading. And like I've said already, it's more than just reading for enjoyment and for pleasure, but is to understand information and facts. Academic reading also has a deeper meaning. You must also think about the theories they make use of and the concepts. Are you all clear on this slide? Do you understand what academic reading is, students? Anyone have a question for me on this slide?
Hi, Portia. Sorry, I just want to
Yes.
know what chapter are we covering in EML now, currently, because I can't find it.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
Yes, this is not a chapter. This is just to teach you how to read academically, seeing that you're doing lots of assignments and it requires a lot of reading.
Okay, all good. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have a question for me? All right. Now let's just look at what academic reading is. All right. Academic reading we use for educational purposes. And like I've said, it needs a lot of concentration because it's so complex. You need to concentrate and refocus on what you're reading because remember, with academic reading, you are looking for specific information. You also need to read strategically. With that said, academic reading involves a lot of, let me say, layers. With academic reading, you will ask questions regularly. regularly while reading. Will also interpret information or meanings and make a connection. Because remember, with academic reading, you're not only going to read one source, you're going to read multiple sources in order to come up with an answer for your topic that you need to discuss or write about. So you must then make connections with all the other readings, right? And of course, most importantly, you have to refine your topic of your writing and also the purpose for this reading. Refine your topic and also the purpose of reading. But remember, the purpose of reading for academic writing is always educational. Anyone would like to add to this slide? No questions for me on this slide? You all clear? All right. Strategies on how we read academically. You ever heard of skimming and scanning before, students? Tell me how or when you read. How do you skim, students? Danielle, please tell me, how do you skim through a text?
You would look for keywords, maybe?
Yes. Yes, definitely. We'll look for keywords, and once you find the keyword, what will you do? Will you underline it, highlight it? What do you do? Do you write it down? What do you do once you've identified keywords? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Colin, what will you do? What do you do while skimming a text? Amber, Jamie, please tell me, what do you do when skimming?
I run my eyes through text to find words or
Yes.
meanings.
All right. Thank you. Good. Anyone else would like to add?
Skim reading is normally used when you're looking for an answer of a question.
Yes. Thank you. Let me just go through the skimming. Remember, when you skim, you look for important information without reading the whole text. All right? Like you will scan and you will skim and you will see that is important. And then you highlight it. You must also read the first sentence of a paragraph, and I will also advise you to the last sentence of that paragraph, all right, when you skim. Then when you skim, you will normally ask yourself the questions like, who is doing it? What is happening? When did it happen? Where did it occur? Why did it happen? And how did it happen? So that is the questions you'll ask yourself. Skim: who, what, when, where, why, and how. As you can see on my slide, skim reading is when you read quickly just to get a general idea of what the text or the book is about. All right? Skimming will also help you to identify if you must continue reading the source or not. Skimming for academic texts will also help you to read you must also read carefully, okay? But remember, skimming does not mean to read every word, all right? You may, for example, skim by reading the titles, the subheadings. You will skim the words that's in bold or in italics or the words that they underlined in the passage. Then you will obviously skim through the introduction, the conclusion, and the summaries of the chapters. You will also skim through. Right? So, with skimming can also help you to make a connection between what you know of the topic It also will help you to minimize your interest in the text and your understanding and also the reflection of the material using. Skimming, remember, is looking for the main ideas. Do you all understand the slide, students? Or is there any questions or anything you'd like to add to this slide? Amber, are you clear on this slide? All right. Now, let me just take you through the steps when you skim an article. All right. You must read the title. You must read the title to see if the title corresponds with what reading you're supposed to do or what you want to write about. All right. So you have to skim the title first. See if it makes a connection as to what you must write about. Then you must read the introduction or the lead paragraph, like I've said. Remember, you only read the first sentence and the last sentence of a paragraph. You must also read the subheadings. All right? Skimming is all about just trying to find important information and not reading the whole text word for word. Most importantly with skimming is to ask you the questions who, what, when, where, why, and how. Now we will move to scanning. Now that you know what skimming is all about, students, what do you think? How do we scan for information? Or how do we scan through a text? How do you scan through your text or books? Anyone? Tell me, do you read the whole page? Do you read the whole text while you scan? What do you do while you scan, students? Is it Rushtai? Rushtai, what do you do when you scan through a text? Amber, Jamie Lee, what do you do when you scan through a text? All right. When you scan, okay, you read quickly for information, okay? And there's certain text techniques you can use for scanning. For example, you can brainstorm the keywords or the phrases. You look for specific words in your text. And it's important to keep visual images in your mind of the words you're looking for. All right? You must read the highlighted information when you scan, the underlined information, those words that's in italics, you must look for that. And most importantly, once you've identified the keywords in a section, all right, you read around that keywords to get a better understanding of what the paragraph is about. Then one reason to scan, there's various reasons for scanning academically, but the one important reason to scan an academic text, you have to find the text relevance. All right? The text relevance refers to the match between the reader's goal and the information or the relevant information that you are looking for, right? As to make a connection or match between the reader's goal and the relevant information that you're looking for. Therefore, text relevance is important. Do you have any questions on scanning, students? Or would you like to add something to the slide? Colin, you good with this slide? Danielle, you good?
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's continue. Now let us just look at the steps of scanning an article. When you scan an article, you must keep in mind what you do. All right? That is why you keep on asking questions while reading, so that you keep in mind what you're searching for. You must analyze the way it's organized in the context before starting to scan, all right? You must analyze the context before you scan. Then, if the material or the source that you're reading is familiar, or you understand what it's about, you may then be able to scan the entire article. All right? Only when the material is familiar to what you're looking for, you may then scan the entire article. All right? Only if it's suitable for the research purpose. All right? Then, if the material that you're reading, or the source that you're reading, or the article that you're reading. It is long or lengthy, or it's difficult. If it's difficult, you may scan, all right? And it may also be necessary to determine which part of the article you will scan, all right? If it's a lengthy article, you may do an initial skimming, all right? If it's necessary. And then you can determine which part of the article you have to scan, all right? Like the one student said, when you scan, you must let your eyes run several times, or quickly over the lines of what you're reading. Then while you scan, if you find information that you need or that is relevant to the topic, you will then read the entire sentence, all right? So if you find a sentence that has information you're looking for, you may read the entire sentence. So important here to note is, when you scan, you find keywords. You scan quickly across the text until you find that keywords. You also need to look for the answers around the keywords. All right? So with scanning, you pick up important information by just looking at the keywords. All right? Because remember, with scanning, you're looking for detail. Are you all clear on scanning, students? Would you like to add anything, or is there a question anyone would like to ask? Danae, you clear on this process of scanning?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Amber, you good? Rishda, you good with scanning?
Good, thanks.
All right. All right. Good. Let's move on. Now there is 3 thinking strategies for academic reading. All right. It's the pre-reading, the during reading, and the after reading. All right. So what do you think, students? What will you do in pre-reading, with preview reading? Remember, you only go through the article. All right. You don't read the article. This is pre-reading. What do you look at when you do pre-reading? All right. Pre-reading is before reading. All right. You must try and determine the author's purpose for writing. You must try and make a connection between your prior knowledge about the topic. All right. You will preview the text that will include the headings, figures, tables, and you must be able to predict the contents of the text. You must look out for any discussion questions. So when you preview a book, you will look at the title, see if it's suitable to read the title. You must look at the author's purpose of writing. You can read through the preface or the foreword. Tell me quickly, does reading or every reading aid have an introduction, a summary, learning objectives? Did you see that before? Do you know where to find the introduction of a book? Where do we find it normally, students?
It should be like the second or third page
Yes,
of a
in the
book.
yes,
Yes, in the beginning.
yes, in the beginning. Good. Thank you. Do you read through it before you read it for academic
Depends on
purposes?
it depends on what it is. If it's like academic reading, yes, I would read through it so that I know which content's where. But if it's like leisure reading, then sometimes I will at the end, because they normally just like thank the people and like
Yes.
say a bit more of the story before you read. But you're not normally in leisure reading.
All right. Yes, correct. Thank you. So before you read, all right, before you read, you will predict, okay? You'll predict what it is about. All right. Secondly, you will get an overview of the material by just doing pre-reading. All right. You will also be able at this stage to establish the purpose of the reading of the book, of the chapter, or of the article. Okay. And then you must also try to make a connection with your prior reading. All right. So with preview or before reading, you will learn best if you can connect the new information, okay, to the information you already know. And the previous steps in reading is very critical. So there are 3 steps in the preview stage. All right. The first step is to skim the reading. All right. Like I've said, skimming means reading through it quickly. You skip details that is not necessary to go through, and you focus on the title of the chapter or the article. And if the introduction is available, you go through that, you go through the headings, the subheadings, and the summary. The second step in the preview process, all right, it is when you ask questions and you start to predict answers to those questions, all right? You will reread the title headings, all right? And the subheadings, that's if it's available. You will also read the summary and ask questions about them, about it. Remember, you'll make use of the questions as I mentioned previously, like who, what, where, how, when, and why. All right. So that is in step 2. Step 3 of prior reading involves where you recall your prior knowledge, all right? So after you have, or now that you have your framework for what you think the reading is about, okay? You would then consider what else you know about the topic, okay? You will then search in your memory for every experience and every piece of information you might have on this topic. All right? Is there any questions for me? Or do you all understand the pre-reading phase of academic reading?
I understand, thanks.
All right. Anyone would like to add? All right. And when you preview a chapter, okay, remember you will look at the chapter title, the subheadings. You will look at the first paragraph, last paragraph, headings, subheadings, the first sentences. And when you tap into your memory, you will ask yourself, what is the topic of what I'm reading or what I'm supposed to read on? You will ask you a question also. What do I already know about this? What is the purpose of the reading? That is all questions you will ask in a pre-reading phase. Now we're moving to the during reading phase. What do you think is the during reading phase all about, students? Remember, now you're going to read. You're done with previewing. You're going to read now. What do you do during the reading process? Share with me, students, what do you do during the reading process? During reading.
Maybe make notes.
Definitely will make notes. Thank you. Anyone else would like to add to that? What do you do during reading when you read?
You focus on what you're reading while making notes as well.
Yes, thank you. Right. Remember, during reading is when you start reading actively. Okay, now you read actively. You are now going to seek answers to your question. Okay. You're going to visualize what it's all about. You're going to make connections with the ideas you have in your head. All right? You will correct yourself. So during reading, all right, to annotate is important. You will mark the textbook or you will highlight certain key information in the text or in the book. You will make notes in the margin. You will make note cards for yourself and you will take notes. All right. Like I've said, you will check your predictions also. You will check your predictions to find the answers to the questions that you were asked for. All right. That is why you're going to make predictions. Then you will use the headings and the transition words. With the transition words, I mean to help you connect with the ideas in the paragraph, to identify the relationship in the text. You will create a vocabulary list, especially of the words unfamiliar to you. All right? It's important to have a vocabulary list to the words that's unfamiliar to you. Then you must try also to infer unfamiliar words, meaning by identifying the word's relationship to the main idea. All right? You must try and infer unfamiliar words, okay? By identifying the word's relationship to the main idea. Then you must connect to the text and your prior knowledge about the topic. You must take breaks. You must, for example, split the text into segments. All right? By doing that, segments is the process when you divide text into meaningful units, such as words, sentences, so you can understand it better. So during reading, you seek answers to your questions. You relate to it. Connect the ideas you already know about the topic. You will monitor it. Okay. You will also correct it. All right. You will get a book to concentrate and understand it. All right. And most importantly, you must make notes while doing reading. All right. So when you organize the information during reading, you will annotate, you will mark the textbook, you will highlight, you will make margin notes, and you'll be selective in what you're going to highlight, what margin notes you're going to make. All right. Now, once you're done with during reading, we will then focus on the after reading. What is your understanding of after reading, students? Remember, you're done previewing now. You're done with the during reading, making important notes, highlighting it, splitting the text into segments. So what do you do after reading? What do you think what is after reading, students?
I think you can test yourself on what you've read to see how much information you've gained.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else would like to add? So when you do after reading, you basically recall what you've read. All right? You will review and recap what you've read. All right? You will make use of the notes you've taken down. You will also reflect on the information, okay? By that I mean you will review your notes. If it's a PowerPoint note taking or if it's in Word, You will review your notes. All right. Now, after reading is basically just a summary of the text in your own words. All right. You must take note of what you've learned or read. When you do your summary, the summary is an outline normally of what you've read. All right. You use your notes, like I've said, to recall. You will identify and reread the difficult part of the text, the parts you don't understand, and then you will also define the words on your vocabulary list. Right. Now, with the reading process, the first thing we normally do is to establish the purpose of reading. We understand, we make sure that we understand the academic vocabulary. That's why it's important for you to also make a vocabulary list. When you pre-read, you scan, you interact with the text, all right? And you think back of what knowledge you have on the topic. Learners, can we quickly just break for 5 minutes and be back here 11:05?
All good.
All right, 11:05, we're all back. Thank you. Okay, students, you're all back. All right, thank you, students. Colleen, I see your hand was up. Do you please lower your hand, students? Still see Amber's hand and Colleen's hand. Please click on the hand again. Still see my screen?
Yes.
Amber, can you see my screen? All right, thank you. I want to know what the reading process is about. I'd just like to share tips with you quickly. All right. When you read, you must use keywords to locate information. All right. So that is why the scanning and skimming process is so important. So you can locate the keywords in information. You must highlight the key ideas. Circle unfamiliar words and then have a vocabulary list next to you. So once you define those unfamiliar words, you'll have a better understanding of the text. Make marginal notes for yourself, especially if you want to question specific area in the text. All right? Make marginal notes. So just come back to preview again. All right? Just the tips I want to give you when you preview. What you should is you must look at the introduction. You must skip to the end and read the summary first. All right? You will scan through the chapter's headings and subheadings. Take notice of the words that's in bold and italics print. You must ask the following questions when you do that. When you do before reading, all right? You must ask, is this relevant to my topic? And you must do one section at a time when you read it to see if it's valuable to your topic, all right? And when you read actively, during reading, please be engaged. Concentrate on what you read. And like I've said, you read one section at a time with the questions you have in mind. as to why, what, when, how. You must look for the answers while reading, all right? You must then, in order to do that, you must organize your notes in such a way that it revolves around the questions and the answers, the questions you have in mind and the answers you're going to find in the text. Okay? Then after each section, you will stop and recall your questions. All right? You must also see if you can answer the questions from your memory after you've read. All right? That is now for after reading. You must also make notes, like I've said, after you've read each section. For example, you will summarize the answers to the question. Right. And if you want to review it, you will then go back, go over all the questions and the headings. Then you have to see if you can still answer all the questions related to your topic, all right? Now, I just want to recap on the strategies of academic reading. When you do pre-reading, you must set a purpose for your reading. You must set goals for your reading. You must already have worked out the plan for you, for how you're going to tackle this reading piece or the research you're going to do. It's important in the pre-reading phase that you activate your background knowledge on the specific topic. Or you must also be able to make predictions. So that is important in your pre-reading. Let's look at the during reading stage. When you read actively, remember during reading, you're reading actively now. You will ask yourself questions. Questions such as, is this important? Do I need to know this with regards to the topic? You must make summaries, make notes. Remember, you're going to highlight now. You're going to annotate. You marginal notes. So then you summarize also. Make sure you identify the main ideas while actively reading, all right? You must make connections. And remember, I said you must visualize. You must visualize it in your mind. You also made a list of vocabulary. So here you must understand the new words. Once you understand the new words, you will understand the paragraph that you're reading or the text that you're reading. Now, during after reading, when you do your after reading, you will normally reflect on what you have read. All right? You will revise what you know what you've come to know about the topic. You will also summarize the main ideas here. Remember, we said your after reading is normally a summary of it. You will draw conclusions, yes? So, remember with your after reading, it's important that you summarize the text in your own words. All right? And your summary, like I've said, is normally an outline of what you've read or the information you've gained. So remember, when you read academically, you need to be actively engaged in it, and you must be able to think critically. You must think critically about the information that you've gathered. And remember, there should always be a purpose behind what you are reading. And once you understand this purpose, you will be able to interpret and to use the information. Are you all clear now on academic reading? Is there any questions for me? Simone, are you clear on academic reading? Do you have a question or would you like to add anything? Jamie Lee, Danae, do you understand this process?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
All right.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, good. So yes, I just want to say thank you for being part of this session on this lovely Saturday morning. Now, theories, the assessments, and the theories of play. Is there anything else you'd like me to address in our next session? And we'll be going through question papers as well, as to how to answer or approach the questions. Colin, Simone, would you like me to address anything else in our next session that you're unsure about or unclear about, or have a challenge with? All right, students, then please enter your student number in the chat function. Then also complete the feedback form. All right. So our next session will then be on Wednesday, and I'll be doing planning and assessments with you. Right. So please get your notes ready on assessment and planning. We'll be doing that on Wednesday evening. All right.
Portia, can I give you my student
Have a good
number?
weekend. Yes, you may.
63
63
62
62
89
89
29.
29. Thank you.
I
Anyone
also
else have a
wanted to
problem
know,
entering?
I received an email, but then I didn't receive the same email as received because I asked her. Is there a CIC class today as well?
No CIC class today. All right.
Okay. Because
What
there was an
email?
Yes.
email that
Thank you.
What email
Um,
did she received,
Danae.
Carla?
I received an email saying that Portia will have a CIC class at 12:30 today on a topic that I
No,
asked, but Danae didn't receive the
No,
same
no,
email.
no. Is it not a one-on-one, Portia?
no, that was query. Yes, queries that you send through is for the one-on-ones. So you asked me to go over CIC with you. So I booked it for 12:30 today. All right. Danae, you will get your email response today. All right.
Okay, thank you so much. Is it possible, Colin, if you don't mind, because I also would like to hear about that, as that is one of my queries as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I said it's fine. I don't mind sharing the session with her. That's why I'm asking if it is today, because I spoke to her about it and then she didn't know what I was speaking about. So I don't mind at all sharing the session with her at all.
All right. Thank you. Adele,
Yes.
can I do it like that? Can I do it like that?
Yes, you can. You can, but remember,
right,
you guys
right.
mustn't get
We'll do that.
confused now between online
Thank you.
sessions and one-on-one sessions. Remember, when Portia
Yes.
books something with you, then it is a one-on-one session. So only you will get that email because it's a session with you only. But you're allowed to share if you don't mind. You may share your session. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Adele.
Okay.
Thank you. So, thank you. Any other questions, students?
Portia, just the last note on the
Yes, Adele.
one-on-one. If Danae is now going to share that session, she will need that link to that session because it's not this link, eh?
All right. All right.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that.
I didn't receive a link for the session. It was only an email. So I also need a link to it.
Okay. In that case, Portia, in that case, use this link. You will be able to connect with this link.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it? All right. We'll
Portia, must we leave this session now or and come again on at 12:30, or what do we do?
Yes, Colin, you leave this session and then you come back at 12.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Adele.
Hi, Portia. I'm just quickly going to share my screen with you. A moment.
All right. Thank you.
Let me just stop the recording.